not the BBC's most triumphant hour. One of the corporation's flagship current affairs shows investigating the other.
The inside story of why a BBC investigation that could have exposed Savile almost a year ago was spiked instead.
Meanwhile, over on BBC Two...
It's been a bad day for the BBC, but it can at least take some comfort from the fact that much of the damage was done by the BBC.
Newsnight was reporting on the Panorama report into Newsnight.
As you watch this, Panorama on BBC One is broadcasting interviews with members of the Newsnight team who worked on that original investigation. They say they warned Peter Rippon last year about the consequences of dropping the story.
The Newsnight editor has now stepped aside and perhaps unsurprisingly declined his colleague's request for an interview.
Well, Newsnight's editor Peter Rippon declined to be interviewed on this programme. No one from senior BBC management decided to appear tonight either.
Panorama heard from Newsnight's reporter.
Ever since the decision was taken to shelve our story, I've not been happy with public statements made by the BBC. I think they're very misleading about the nature of the investigation we were doing.
And the alleged victim of Jimmy Savile, whose story they declined to pursue.
It was hurtful and it was difficult because I had been pushed so hard to do it when I didn't want to. You have to remember, I wasn't very well at all. I had cancer. In the end, I said, OK. And for all that stress, that's what made me angry. The fact that I'd gone through all that stress when I really needed to concentrate on getting well. And then they never used it because somebody higher up didn't believe me.
Peter Rippon said 3 weeks ago that the story they were pursuing was about Surrey Police's investigation of Savile, but that it could not be substantiated. His own journalists say that was wrong on both counts.
The story we were investigating was very clear-cut. It was about Jimmy Savile being a paedophile.
We weren't asked to find more evidence or anything like that. We weren't asked to get more people on camera. We were told to stop working on the story.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Which shifts the focus back to the top of the BBC and its new Director General, George Entwistle, who was then in charge of commissioning programmes.
I will, of course, be taking questions at the Culture Select Committee tomorrow, and then there are the two independent reviews that we've set up, one looking at Jimmy Savile's activities over the past decades, and the Pollard review looking at exactly what happened on Newsnight, and I'd expect to make a full contribution to those.
The Prime Minister has said he is concerned that the BBC appears to have changed its story. Mr Entwistle will face more questions from MPs today about how much he knew about the Newsnight investigation and why, if his own journalists were confident in their story, that story was dropped.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to some more Super Jim'll Fix It.
If you want a star in a synchronized swim, or meet the three bears, then you must write to Jim. If you want a gift, give you a wash, or have Samantha serve you nosh. Be an envoy to the USSR, or take a date out in a miniature car. Jim'll fix it. 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 Jim'll fix it.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen, we hope it's been a very good week for you, and here's a very good set of fix-its for you. Here we go now with a letter from Leeds. Yeah, Leeds.
Dear Jim, will you please fix it for my son John to have a tarantula crawl over his hand and up his arm? He is very interested in all types of animals and has specimens of a scorpion and a Peruvian tarantula in his room, but his mother won't let him have a live one at home. Yours sincerely, John Sparshat.
Well, of course, we can't have a live tarantula next to me either, but here from the Really Wild Show, we've got Chris Packham. How about that? Wait. Hang on. What is that a toy?
No, this is the real thing.
Just a moment, excuse me, thank you. Yes. I can get a closer view from here, ladies and gentlemen. Right, listen, you, Fearless Fred, ask him some questions about the beast.
Where does he stay?
Well, this one stays in a tank in the Really Wild Show office, and he's a big pet of everyone there, and they fuss about and look after him.
A pet?
A pet.
Good
He's
heavens.
a popular chap, this guy.
Really? Oh. Where do they... if he lives in a tank, how long do they live for?
Well, this one we think is a male, and the males live for about 7 years before they moult, and then they die.
Oh.
Now, if he's lucky enough to be a female, it's very difficult to tell. He could actually...
I would
he or
find it
she
no problem.
Could go on for 25 years.
Well, I would find it a great problem. Yes. Yeah, you're asking some questions, you're nearest.
How old is he?
Well, we think this one's about 7 because he's just moulted, and well, I'm saying he all the time, we think he's a he, because he started to tear around all over the place as if he's looking for a mate.
Really? Goodness gracious. Listen, fearless Fred, I thought you wanted to hold one. Did you want to hold it? Really? Honestly?
Yes.
I'll save you if anything goes wrong. I'm ready to save you, you know that, don't you? Right, all right then.
Right, are you ready then? Well, you put your hands out flat with the palms of your hands, put both together. Right, now, I'll just let him walk on. There you go. And how does that feel?
Nice.
Feels nice. He feels a bit sticky, doesn't he?
I think it's lovely.
Sort of swap that hand round and catch him on that side.
What do they eat?
This one eats crickets, which come in the post, and in the wild they eat insects and all sorts of things like that. Definitely not humans.
No?
In the past, tarantulas have always been made out to be bad guys, and in films they've eaten tanks and whole cities and things like that. There's a film called The Tarantulas That Ate Tokyo.
Why is it going up his arm?
Well, I think it's taken a liking to him.
Has it?
Yeah.
Ian, aren't you scared?
No.
Are you, really, honestly, you're not scared? But that's a tarantula that sort of eats little boys and things, and insects. And you're not bothered. Have you stroked it? Can you stroke it?
Yeah, to give him a little touch on the legs. Don't touch his back.
Why not the back?
Well, on his back there,
Yeah.
they actually scratch the hairs off that bit there, and it goes bald. And what they do is they stick into you, and they're a severe irritant. That's how they look after themselves and stop getting eaten by foxes and mice and things like that in the wild.
Really?
You can see a few little tufts there, look, where he's got a bit angry a little while ago.
Oh, I think you deserve about 7 Jim will fix it badges. So if you'd like to relinquish your... I'll tell you what, whilst he's there, I will... You see, I've got no nerves, B. I'm completely fearless. The only reason I'm at the back of this chair is because I've got a bad back. And...
I think Jim ought to hold the spider. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I think so too. Yeah, later. I think we shall. Whilst you've got both hands free, would you like to give him a Jim will fix it badge?
Here you go.
But don't knock the spider, whatever you do. Oh, hang on.
In your letter it says your mum wasn't very keen on spiders. Is that true?
Yeah.
Right, so I thought I'd better not leave you with the actual spider, but while I was out yesterday shopping, I came across this book in the bookshop, and it's tarantulas. It's all about tarantulas, and it was particularly good for you because the first chapter is called Tarantula Mania.
Ooh.
OK? So I'll leave you with the book, and perhaps when you get a bit older you can twist your mum's arm and get your tarantula of your own. OK?
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
Thank you.
Hang on. And will you tell everybody from the Really Wild Show that we all watch it and we think it's terrific, OK?
I certainly will.
Good, good. You're going to take this... you're going to take Ron off him, aren't you?
Yes, OK then.
Come on, Ron.
Come on.
Come on, Ron. It won't leave you, will it?
No.
And it won't leave me? Oh, that's all right, then. Because my back's better now, all of a sudden. Yeah. Oh, terrific, I see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we've had tarantulas, beautiful ballet, we've had all sorts of marvellous things. Listen, look after yourself, please, for 7 days. See you next week for some more super Jim will fix it.